Um, Charlotte Maxwell-Jones founded this place in 2018. Almost count like a Positive Peeps episode because she is one of one. Extraordinary individual. I've gotten to know her a little bit the past 2 weeks. And, whoops, sorry. It's on the couch here. And uh, she has a big campaign right now going on with Kabul Animal Rescue. They are about to bring over, I think we'll confirm this, but close to 400 dogs and cats that have been sort of strays all over Kabul and Afghanistan. And they've been treated, vaccinated, spayed, neutered, and they are about to get on a giant plane, flown to the U.S., and they need forever homes. They need to be adopted in order for this whole thing to work. And if those of you can adopt, you can donate. It's a huge endeavor. She's been leading it. But a little bit about Charlotte before we bring her on. Because you wouldn't believe how she ended up in animal rescue, and we'll get to that. But she has been working in Afghanistan since 2010, close to 15 years. Since 2010, close to 15 years. So obviously she's seen quite a bit. She's been has field research and archaeology from the University of Michigan in 2015 with a thesis focused on archaeology and economic and cultural exchange in the Central Asian region, covering just the span over a little bit like the millennium. She's based in Kabul and has worked on local and international organizations conducting research and programming in political policy, culture, and economic development, capacity building, gender, and social research. And she founded the Kabul Small Animal Rescue in 2018, a licensed veterinary hospital and animal rescue and a registered 501c3, which currently houses over 450 animals and over 90 staff. She also is the self-proclaimed weird American who yells at people on the street to be nice to puppies. I don't really believe in yelling, but if there's a reason to yell, it would be for people who are not nice to animals, especially the poopies. Da poopies. That's from Nacho Libre, sorry. So we're going to bring her on, and we're going to talk about how she got an animal rescue, how she founded this place, and what you can do to help save a life. Okay, so let's bring her on. Okay. All right. Where are you, Charlotte? Okay, I think request. There she is. Here we go. Hey there. All right, let's try again. Accept. Here she comes. Oh my God.
Am I on?
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Dr. Charlotte Maxwell-Jones.
Hi. It's nice to see you.
Oh, all right. We're done. Live's over. Tears, joy. What's that baby's name?
This is, who are you? This is Allen, named after Allen Ginsberg.
Oh, the beat poet. The soul of a generation from the 60s. Who doesn't love Allen Ginsberg?
Yeah, exactly. Cosmopolitan greetings. Stand up against governments, against God.
All right, we have a intellectual among the animal rescue community here. Can you just tell us quickly a little bit? Oh, hello. Okay. All right. Game over. She knows how to do it. All right. So, a couple things. What? Crying. What's? They just want attention. Can you?
Sorry. It's just. Say again.
How did you find those babies? Where did Alan come from?
Alan came to us with his mother, Karen. Yes, right there. She came in with an embedded collar injury, and she was about 10 days from giving birth. So we got her better as best as possible. And this would be, yes, are you laying on your mama? And so they gave birth in our clinic about 5 weeks ago. And so they will not be on the flight because the flight's in early June, and in the US they have to be 6 months old to enter. But they will be all up for adoption, and I imagine even fluffier at that point.
I love it. Dr. Maxwell-Jones, even though she said you call her doctor, I can't help it. Just going to jump in real quick. Before you founded Kabul Animal Rescue in 2018, what brought you to Afghanistan, and what brought you to animal rescue? Because you have a PhD in ancient poetry, poetry, right?
Archaeology. I also did Greek poetry. Yes.
Was there feature animals in this Greek poetry? Was there rescue stories in this poetry? So how did you end up in Afghanistan, and prior to that?
So I came out here in 2010 to work with the French archaeological delegation on there are excavations in Bactria, so the ancient capital of Bactria, which Alexander the Great took over. And I was out here doing PhD research and finished up the PhD in 2015, wanted to leave academia, came back and did a lot of development work and political policy, a lot of work with agriculture and gender, and the animals started as a side project that obviously took over. So for a long time it was my second full-time job, and then after the NATO withdrawal, it's been like 3 full-time jobs.
What did you that made you want to? And is animal rescue and your work with the animal Kabul the first time you worked in animal rescue? And what did you see that made you want to start this organization?
So there have been a few other smaller operations here. There was a large British animal rescue out here for a long time, and part of it was simply I have very particular demanding standards for care, and you know, if you can't get what you want elsewhere, make it yourself. So so that we were always actually very small until the NATO withdrawal, and then we sort of exploded after that. There was a lot of when a lot of people left, they surrendered animals to us, and obviously we didn't get out, so we ended up staying and rebuilding, and we've since grown immensely. So we have 450 animals in residence. We have 92 staff, including 5 veterinarians, 10 vet techs. We're a fully functioning animal hospital. There's a surgical suite downstairs, and we have 17 facilities in the neighborhood, as well as a rescue farm for agricultural animals up north.
You have 17 facilities?
Yes.
That's a lot of animal hospitals and rescues to oversee.
It is. It's huge, and I mean, there's a really pretty profound humanitarian and economic crisis in the country right now, and when people don't have money to feed their children, they're not going to adopt. They're not going to adopt companion animals. So there's very little. I mean, forgivably, there's very little adoption locally here, and that's part of how we've ended up overgrown. Right? There are about 100,000 street dogs in Kabul, probably the same a number of street cats. We don't go out and collect. Everyone that comes to us comes in because they're injured or ill or orphaned. But we can't just release them again. I mean, you know, these little ones, there they go. Like they're 5 weeks old now. They were born with us. We can't just release them onto the street. So yeah, it's become an overwhelming operation, and because we're located in Afghanistan, we fall into a real gap in funding. So we can't apply for a lot of grant funding, and we are obviously very overloaded right now. And we want to remain open, and we want to remain the resource for animals here. And the only way to do that is to radically lower our population.
Which means you need to clear shelters.
Yes.
And that's
Yes, it does.
spring, because you're American, so you're organizing a trip to the U.S. in June to bring
Mm-hmm.
over 6 months to the U.S. And what we're talking about here are the ones that arrive have sort of preset adoption families that can be there, have so many liaisons in the U.S. that can get those animals, those that are not. And I think you're landing in, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we're landing in IED.
So if anyone sees this adopt and they're in, let's say, Idaho or Maine, there will be a way for you. A lot of
Absolutely. Anywhere in the continental U.S. is absolutely open for business. When we land, they will all 300 animals. We're aiming for 200 dogs and 100 cats to be on the flight. They will all go through the CDC liaison facility there and be checked by USDA and CDC veterinarians when they're released. And we're hoping for a 2 to 3 day hold. If it goes over that, I might cry. When they're released, we've got huge teams of volunteer drivers and hopefully pilots that can fly them to their homes and to their rescues. So we're looking for adopters. We're also looking for foster-based rescues. Hi, come here. Well, come here. This is Audrey for Audrey Lord. Yeah. So we're looking for.
Just sensing that you name all the little ones.
Not all of them. No. Just this litter. Just this litter.
Just
so it's the poet litter.
Afghan names, Persian names, American names.
Yeah, we've got a ton. We've got a ton that have Persian names. And then we've got a ton that, I mean, we try to not double up on names. So when we did a large flight 2 years ago to Canada, and we ended up with 10 dogs named Max, which got really, really confusing. So we're trying to have only unique names, and it does get hard after a while.
I feel like you will always. I feel like you start naming them after ancient Hellenic poetry.
We've done that.
Of course, there's probably Aeneas and Cleopatra, all kinds of. Helen of Troy. I don't even know if I'm in the right millennium here.
You're good. You're good. Everybody wrote about Helen of Troy. They still do.
I'm curious. Also, are there laws in Afghanistan regarding street animals? I remember working in Chile once in South America. We don't have this phenomenon in the U.S. Where there are street animals. The U.S. allow. They have to be in a shelter or taken to the pound. And unfortunately, there's crowding in shelters. And we have some no-kill shelters, but some, I hate to use the word, are kill shelters. They get overcrowded. They euthanize the animals, which I find it unconscionable. What gives us the right as a nation to murder? Okay, so maybe I'm getting political even with animals, which I don't want to do, but I'm just curious. I actually think it's amazing to have street animals because, as you can see, they don't. People feel attacked. They're just looking for food. They're sort of like the unhoused, and they're just looking to survive, and they move, and they survive, have their own life and love and joy and struggles. What are the laws in Afghanistan regarding street animals? And you guys can't go and collect them and see that they're injured. What is their destiny, if you will, collectively? It's sort of hard.
So the entire constitution here has changed. There's a new legal system. There isn't yet a really well developed set of animal welfare laws. And luckily, it's not like some places in the Middle East which collect all street dogs, put them in like country-owned shelters where they basically starve and eat each other. Iraq is one of those. It's incredibly bad right now. The issue here that the government is trying to deal with, and Mayhew International, which is a British organization, is doing an enormous program with, is trap, neuter, spay, vaccinate, and release. So TNVR. But one of the biggest problems that's a public health risk here is endemic rabies, and so it's horrible. We've euthanized over 30 dogs with rabies in the last year alone. We take it very seriously. And that's part of, I mean, you know, in 20, I think it was 2021, the CDC and the US redid all of their laws on entry, and they now require rabies titer tests, because there had been, I think it was two rabbit animals came in from an Egyptian shelter, and then I think one from Azerbaijan or something. So we actually, we titer test all of our animals whether or not they're going. We're incredibly careful about rabies, but that's the biggest focus for the government here right now, because it's a zoonotic disease. It's incredibly dangerous. It is 100% fatal.
What's it called?
Rabies.
Oh, you're saying
rabies. Yeah.
something else. And is there a preponderance? I mean, you hear this when you're a kid, for dogs or animals with rabies who bite humans?
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes they do. There
And then
are a couple different forms. So some animals get Furiosa style at the end, and they get quite aggressive. Others get paralytic, and so they just their jaws are clamped shut, and they look paralyzed and asleep.
I think let's move on to the positive.
Yeah.
You guys vaccinate all of them, and we're wishing them all well. Disease runs. I feel like you have 17 in Afghanistan. I feel like, I don't know, I'm venturing here that they're all over sort of Central Asia and the Middle East. Like you're going to be starting some more. You're going to branch out. Kabul Animal Rescues, Baghdad Animal Rescue, Tehran Animal Rescue. I don't know.
I mean, you know, we're based here. We're based here in Kabul, in the capital. But we have to date never denied a request to any part of the country. We drive around Toyota Corollas. It's our way. And so actually, some of the animals that are up for adoption are from Kandahar. They're from Mazar. They're from all over the country, and we also work on supporting and improving the welfare of working dogs, like bomb-sniffing dogs that are all over the country in airports and at border crossings. So we're a countrywide phenomenon.
Those are dogs that had worked with the U.S. military and NATO and other special forces. Then when those forces withdrew, they were left behind?
Many of them, yes. So they were not directly owned. Most of them were not directly owned by the U.S. military. There were 5, actually, that were left. The rest were owned by different contractors.
I don't like to say it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's owners and pets. I think there's dogs, humans, dogs. You know, I don't own else other soul. They live with us.
So you may not agree with ownership, but let's just say that their physical reality was overseen and by authorities that were either governmental or non-governmental, right? So the dogs that were working directly with the U.S. military and were directly under their authority were mostly shipped out. Those that were working basically subcontracting for NATO. So all the defense contractors, they were not taken out. There are a few exceptions, but most of those were left, and many of them had very, very bad fates. A lot of them died. We have taken in a lot of them. We've also gotten permission from the current government to remove many of them, but also a lot of them are still working. They're still working here, and so we do take care of them.
I want to pivot about others. You're animals. You're in Kabul, which has had change over the years and recently. Um, and when the U.S. left, can you tell us a little bit about your journey there, as much as you can, but able? And um, I want to start with that if you don't mind.
Sure. So in June and early July of 2021, we had moved out 76 of our dogs prior to the CDC ban. Um, After that, it very quickly became clear that that the NATO forces were leaving, obviously at the end of August, but that the Afghan Republic forces were collapsing, and the Taliban took over. They took over on August 15th. And only on August 14th did the US actually start to evacuate, which is completely insane, but whatever. Um, so on the 15th, we then, the next morning, we went to the Taliban authorities. I went to them and I asked for permission to operate and permission to evacuate our staff and animals, and safety to operate. And I was granted that. On August 24th, we went to the airport with 130 dogs, 90 cats, and about 140 people, which was staff and their families. The dogs and me got into the airport, and I came into the airport because they wanted me to sign something, and then I couldn't get back out. The staff and the cats mostly did not make it in. Only 9 of our staff managed to get out then. We were when we went to the airport. We had a charter plane contracted, and we had tail numbers for the flights. We had PR numbers for landing permits. Those were then canceled. I spent close to a week in the airport fighting to get landing permits for the charter flights that we were booking. We never expected the military to take out any of our animals. And long story short, we were denied the landing permit, and so most of our staff were ended up stuck here, and the U.S. military police seized our dogs on the night of August 29th, and then about half that night, half the next day, and released them onto the tarmac. Or very close to the tarmac, the north part of the airport. I was told that I could take what I could carry, so I took a puppy called Bia, who's now in Canada living a wonderful life, and then on August 30th walked out of the airport, thereby, I guess, beginning this second part of the journey.
Just want to. There's a lot to unpack there. Well, I'm just going to talk about Bia, because this exists in many. You save one life, and then they said you can take as many. You're able to take one, and as in Canada now, but you stay with Bia in Afghanistan. Am I right about that?
Yes.
You were only able to take one. And was Bia injured?
Bia was born with basically what looks like rickets. She was born with very malformed long limbs, and she'd been quite sick, and she was dehydrated. A very kind Sergeant Milstead actually gave me some IV fluid from a human emergency pack, and so I got her. I got an IV in her.
Sergeant Milstead.
Yeah. I haven't talked to him since, but I remember the name. He's a U.S. soldier.
And we won't get into it, but I went things at that time as well. And I remember you saying to me once, and if I may, you stayed with Bia because you felt you had to, because no one else was going to. So you stayed in Afghanistan, saved Bia, you got her adopted, and you continued your work. And I just want people to hear that. I have a little online series called Positive Peeps that defines positive creativity, service, and you have found creative ways to do extraordinary service that seems like it wouldn't happen without you, logistically, so forth. Um, but you also have an extraordinary staff. 92, you said?
Yeah.
92 Afghans, yes?
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. How did you find your staff, um, vets and vet techs and all around good humans? Are they volunteers? Are they paid?
No, they're all paid. They're all salaried staff. Yeah. We have about 60 animal caretakers. We've got procurement. We've got a 10-strong admin office. We cook all of our own dog food in an enormous like catering, like professional catering kitchen. We're an operation. We have our own construction teams. We have our own carpentry teams. So we're pretty self-sufficient in a lot of ways.
So you're also providing jobs.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're helping some.
And we've never stopped. We've never stopped doing that.
And I know that's very important to you as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I know you're not able to employ everybody, especially since the laws changed, but you employ who you can.
Yes.
Just
Yeah.
one.
Right now we have all male staff, and at some point the laws might change again, and we'll work within the local laws, and hopefully we'll start to within the next year bring on smaller teams of female staff again. But that's it's sort of as it allows. And right now we have a very cordial relationship with the government, and we plan to keep it that way. And part of how we do that is we do follow the laws and regulations. Come here.
If I may.
Come here.
Who's that? Andrew?
Oh my goodness. This is Kenneth for Kenneth Koch. Yeah.
Kenneth Koch was a professor of mine.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
Kenneth Koch was
one train hides another is like my favorite poem in the world, but okay.
He was my poetry professor when I went to Columbia University when I was sophomore, junior. And it was the only course I got an A+ in.
I'm so jealous. I'm like seriously so jealous.
I love modern, and it was modern poetry. That's when I learned. I've spoken about this. Tennyson, E. Cummings, Fred Yates. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So his name is Kenneth. Let me. My God.
That's Kenneth. Hey.
Kenneth, do you want to be Rain's brother? Oh my! It looks like he's gonna get.
Oh, we're tired. Tired.
Oh my goodness. Raina's sleeping right next to me. She's a bit tired too, knackered. Well, this is amazing. I just want to say one thing that you said that I think I sort of philosophically try to adhere to, and you're acting to it, is that with so much challenging law, conflicts all over the world, devastating, that seem debilitating, that maybe free us, and there's various forms of active. If you help one, you are doing the world. So you're helping so many human animals. I am in awe of you at the logistical, the challenges. Say more, but we won't.
Well, I mean, it's enormous, but I mean, I did an impossible like 1,200-page dissertation on 35 metric tons of like pre-Islamic pottery here, and did it sherd by sherd, right? Like 35 metric tons of broken dishes, basically. And so I'm quite used to you pick up one at a time, and then you make it happen. So. And I think that ethos is actually it's one that works really really well in Afghanistan. Like people here don't give up. You just keep going. If people say no, you just find another way.
I love
So
it.
when people say it's impossible, like
I
we
freaking
just
love
we
it.
just don't agree.
I freaking love it. Is that I'm now I'm like, is that was self-taught along the way? Is something you observed, mentor in any field, where you day to day, moment to moment, you find a way, you say yes, take a no, and you turn it to another yes. Is that something you personally developed, discovered, learned?
Well, I mean, within my own capacity, I think I was probably the stubborn, like coming out of the womb. But it's also there's a real capacity for creativity and dynamism here. If you need to build something insane because you've got this problem that cropped up in the morning, we can do it. You can make it happen. And part of it is simply just not acknowledging the possibility of failure. So obviously we have had huge setbacks, right? Like walking out of the airport and not getting a flight in 2021 was, I mean, that was, I think, really, truly the biggest failure of my life. But we then,
I don't think that's
we pulled together with
not
thousands of people across the world and we corrected it. We brought it back.
I just want to correct one thing. That was not a failure on your part. That was not in any way.
It might not, yeah, it may not be what you would define as one. I think I always will. I think I will always carry the guilt of that. I don't think it'll ever go away. But I also use it as I use it as a motivating force. I don't think that I'm not religious and I don't believe in forgiveness and I don't believe in making the ability to make up anything. But I do believe in doing good in honor of mistakes that you've made.
I think that's a wonderful way forward. Um, I do believe in forgiveness, and I certainly think we have to forgive ourselves. And I certainly, my opinion, I'm putting it on my Instagram live. Have anything touch excessively positive as much as I can. I feel like I'm inspired beyond words. Logistically, let's just tell everyone how they can get one of these puppers or kittens or doggos from Afghanistan. That's how you properly say it. And how we can do that. And if not, how they. I read also. I just want to. Takes a lot for you guys to run, keep going, and do all the doing. And sometimes people that you have managed to raise enormous funds for a previous expo that you've done, and people giving as much as $50 even. Well, look, I believe if $1, give $1, but even $50 collectively has raised hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars the last.
So our first plane that cost $800,000 was paid for entirely by donations that averaged under $40, most of which were $5 and $10 donations. So, like, I mean, truth to power, man. I mean, and we were by the end, like, I would have accepted $1 million donation. I absolutely would all the time. But it was also kind of awesome that we did make it happen ourselves and with like this huge worldwide community of supporters. So it was empowering, and I think it was good for people because people often think if you can't give more than $5, you're not able to do something good. And we really did prove that like every single effort matters. Every single effort can save a life. So for people who want to adopt from us, everything is on our website, and that can be reached through our Instagram profile, through our Facebook profile. It's just KabulSmallAnimalRescue.com. And then we've got a ksarairlift@gmail.com. But get in touch with us anyway. Message us, reach out. Our WhatsApp is on Facebook as well. And we're open to all rescues in the U.S., even taking one. We have no minimum number, and then we're asking people to help us fundraise. We're not asking people to pay full costs. And then we're working with Puppy Rescue Mission to fully vet and do home checks for all adopters. And then I'm working with all of the rescues, and so far I think we're working with over 24 rescues, and they're coming in every day to help place. And we're doing foster placement only for our dogs because we're a kennel-free facility. And then we've also got, we're fundraising. We've got a Give Lively fundraiser, but everything is on our website as well, just on kabulsmallanimal.com, our donate button. And we're estimating about $775,000 for this entire thing. Right now, we're at around 85,000. We're hoping, and we're sure that it will happen. We can make it happen, but it's going to take everybody. It's going to take a lot.
If you're seeing this, if you end up watching this, you can give $5. You can give $5. They'll take $1 million. They'll take 800,000. Can't give that. You can give $5. Even better than $5, and in my opinion, better than $1 million. One would argue with me. You adopt that little baby right there. Well, she's a pup. So he's a pup, so he can't be adopted because he's under 6 months. But if you one of those, foster or adopt one of those beautiful animals from the other side of the earth, you're saving the world. I really believe that. You save a life, you save a world. Take Doctor Charlotte Maxwell-Jones's lead, her entire staff at Kabul Animal Rescue, and save a life. It's in June. It's funny. I'm gonna cry. That little baby. Who's that baby?
Hello.
Who's that?
Are you Alice? Alice for Alice Nautry. Okay.
These names. I feel like I
know.
Oh my God.
And then we got that's Jones for Saeed Jones. If you don't know him, he's fucking awesome. But anyway, so we're really grateful for all of the outreach help, and it really is like it's the small efforts, it's the constant, continuing small efforts that have always saved us. And I think always.
I'm going to put the website and how to get involved on my link and on socials, and we do June. We don't have that date in June yet, right?
I talked to the charter company yesterday, and we're looking at leaving here June 2nd, arriving June 3rd.
Okay, everybody, you have from now until June 3rd to get on it. Last question: is there a way they can see all the Kenneth Cook and Saeed and Alice and like all the faces and little blurb about every dog and cat over?
So we've got most of them on our website. We tend to not put up the newborns up for adoption yet because
Under 6 months.
Quite a lot can happen the first few months. And we're updating, we're working on keeping it updated, but I'm like as tech savvy as like a doorknob, so it's a little difficult. But yeah, most of them are up there. But we also put tons and tons of photos and videos on our Facebook and Instagram page. If you see anybody that strikes you, let us know.
All right. This is amazing. I'm going to put it on my socials. You can do it, everybody that's watching. Take Dr. Charlotte Maxwell-Jones's lead and her team. Look how much she's done. 5. You can bring, and there's one more. Someone wants. Thank you. Hold on.
Oh my goodness. Hello. Are you Raina?
Yes. Little napsies. Thank you. Thank
you so much.
We love you. We're going to adopt some cousins of Raina.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll be in touch, Charlotte. God bless.
Bye.
Ciao. Okay. How amazing was that? She's amazing. I do not know. I've gotten to know her a little bit more. The stories that she has are unimaginable, remarkable. Um, and let's give her a hand. Literally, let's give her an applause, but literally, let's go give her a hand and let's go get one of those puppers and kitty cats, and let's do what we can, whatever you can. And if you can't help, if you can't adopt, that's okay. Do something for someone. Go volunteer and take a little animal for a walk. Go smile at your neighbor. God bless and thanks for watching.